Joining me today is Karen Thomas from Holistic Digestive Solutions. Hello, Karen. Not only is Karen a holistic health colleague of mine, but she's also my first client. Karen Thomas is a registered dental hygienist, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, an Institute for Integrative Nutrition health coach, but wait, there's more, an author, and a motivational speaker. Karen received her master's in human nutrition and functional medicine from the University of Western States. Karen works with people who are stressed, depressed, fatigued, suffering from all kinds of chronic health conditions. Clients generally describe her as motivating, inspiring, and hopeful. I would agree. For more information on Karen or to learn more about functional nutrition, visit www.holisticdigestivesolutions.com. Karen became a digestive health expert kind of out of necessity. Her life drastically changed in her 40s when tremendous stress turned into a debilitating mystery illness. Virtually bedridden for 2 years and finding no hope from the usual allopathic Western medical avenues, she finally took matters into her own hands. After learning the wisdom of use food as medicine, she also found additional educational help to help her heal. Thus began a new branch of her journey. Karen chose to tell her own story in order to help others. She wrote her first book in 2016, Overwhelmed and Undernourished. You want to show us that book there? Very perfect. Title of her book is Overwhelmed and Undernourished, Use Food as Medicine and Turn Your Life Around. That's exactly what she did. But before she wrote her book, Karen enrolled in this terrific book writing course, which promised to guide students through the process of writing their dream book. While she found the course guidance helpful, she realized pretty quickly her writing skills might not be up for the task. Deciding she needed some professional writing help, she consulted me, Paula High-Young, to assist her, and I helped her through the completion, editing, and the self-publishing phases of her book, and that's what has brought it out there. And it's helped you get some speaking gigs and all kinds of great stuff, hasn't it? It's won some awards, and we're real proud of you. So welcome, Karen, and thank you for the opportunity to talk with you today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm thrilled to have you. I'm thrilled that we can finally schedule this time together. So I'm going to ask you a few questions to just kind of get us started. So I want you to think back to before we started working together, like when you started diving into writing your book and you started taking the course and looking at it. We had become friends by then. And it's kind of a big task than I thought. So think back to that whole process of getting it written and finished and published and all that when you're answering these questions. How and why did you decide to write your first book?
Let's start with the why.
Okay.
For me, I figured I knew I had a story.
Mm-hmm.
I had a tremendous amount of stress in my life. I spent 2 years in bed. And I went to doctor after doctor, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. And it wasn't until I figured it out myself that all the light bulbs started going off in my head. And I realized that if I didn't know the answers to these questions, then there were a lot of people out there that didn't know the answers to their questions. And I never wanted anybody to go through what I went through. And being bedridden for 2 years, and you can't get out of bed, you can't cook, you can't clean, you don't know how important it is in life. So I wanted to tell my story so that other people would have the hope that they can figure out their autoimmune condition.
Wow.
And they can possibly reverse things or make them to a point where they can function a whole lot better.
Wow, great. That's great. And it's pretty common these days. A lot of people are sick, depressed, tired, whatever, and they're going to doctors, and God bless them, they don't know any better because they didn't get maybe but 30 minutes of nutrition training. And they're telling people, you're just getting older, get used to it. And that's not the case at all, is it?
No, and I was diagnosed with like 15 different disorders.
Oh, good heavens.
And I basically was able to reverse everything by using food And I didn't realize that that was possible. So
Yeah.
as I said, I didn't know that you could use food as medicine.
I mean, I'm sorry that you got sick, but you've often told me it might have been the best thing that ever happened to you in some ways, and how blessed we are that we get to be educated by your experience, and you're kind of lighting the way for a lot of people. What were your biggest concerns and challenges in the process of writing and bringing your story out?
For me, I know that I'm a better speaker than I am a writer.
Okay.
And writing a book was going to pull me in areas that I didn't know, I was very unfamiliar with. And I've never been known for my writing skills. My speaking skills are different, but not my writing skills. They often get me in trouble. And I knew that I was going to need some help. And there were some things that were hard for me to write or express in such a way that I wanted the reader to really be able to feel. Mm-hmm. So that is why I think I contacted you and we began the journey together.
Yeah, we did. And you had a couple of spots in your book that were really emotionally charged, right?
Yes. I have a chapter in there. I think it's called Dr. No Hope. And there were a lot of negative emotions tied to that chapter. And what I liked working with you is that you gave me the time to process that, to go through it in a healthy way. And that by the time we came to really editing that part of the book, I was at such a point of forgiveness that I was able to say, you know what, we need to cut this, or I don't want it to sound as harsh, because at first I wrote out of anger.
Yeah, you needed to at that point.
Yes, and I was able to, get those feelings out and then kind of reel them back in with the responsibility and the accountability of knowing that I may not have gotten the answers I needed, but truly in the end, my body was my temple and it was my responsibility. And I needed to own the damage that I had done to my own self by not eating properly and eating tons of processed foods.
Right.
Just an unhealthy way of eating.
Well, and he did the best he could with the training he had. You didn't know that you were looking for a holistic or functional medicine person, and you were still learning about that terminology. But the thing is, he kind of guided you in a funny kind of way. He kind of guided you in the right direction. You were, by damn if you can't help me, and then you did find the right help.
I felt like because he didn't give me what I needed to do it for myself. And if you don't fight for yourself, who is going to fight for yourself? So now that I'm done, I'm very grateful to him, because I have a new career, a new love, and a new passion. And my goal is really to help tons of people heal from all the things that we do to our bodies.
So this was creating a lot of stress. I mean, you were writing this and kind of reliving some of this stuff, and then not knowing how to kind of put it into words. That was creating some stress. I know when you first contacted me, you were like, oh my God, I invested all this money in this course, and what am I going to do? How am I going to pull this off? So how was it affecting your life?
I cried a lot. I wrote and I cried. And it was really, as I say, it's a blessing in disguise, because I was able to get a lot of emotions that I had buried. I got to get them out on paper, and I didn't have to hit send, because I had you as an editor who helped me not only work through those emotional issues, but also to kind of, write it in such a way that it wasn't hurtful.
Toned down.
Yes. And I really, like I said, my goal is really to help people, is not to blame somebody else. And
we have to take responsibility at some point. So you were learning to do that, weren't you?
Yes. So it was definitely emotionally very challenging. And there were days I had to put things down, and then I would put them back up, and then I would put them down, and I would pick them back up. And we just did this until it was all done.
Yeah. I think you just very eloquently described the writing process, especially when we're telling our own story. with the emotions and stuff that's happened to us along the way that's helped shape our life and bring us to the place we are now. And there is a lot of pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. There are a lot of times you have to write and then put some distance. And you were learning that in spades as you were writing your story. And then we would edit, and then we would do some more, and then we would re-edit. I think for the Dr. No Hope chapter, I purposely did that in like 4 or 5 different edits because I felt like it was an onion in and of itself that we would need to peel and very gradually go, because I knew there was no way we could publish it as well. But you toned it down on your own after a while, and that was it was a beautiful thing to watch.
And that was the beautiful thing, was that you let me, through your creativity, you allowed me to go through that process. You didn't say, oh no, you need to cut this, you need to cut this, you need to cut this. You allowed me to do it in my own timing, which was beautiful, because I was able to say, okay, we need to cut this, or no, we need to add this. And I think that's what I really enjoyed about this whole process, was that, like, you're just not an editor. You're much more, because you used your health coaching skills and your editing skills, and you just tied everything together beautifully.
Well, and I think that's why I have reached a point where I prefer to work strictly in a program model, because if I've had a few people ask me, well, can't you just do editing for me? You have to do it in a program model. And I've stood with that, because I've learned, working with you and a few other people, there is a lot of healing that needs to happen. And I don't want to, edit somebody and then cut them loose and not have somebody to help them work through that. Maybe they'll need somebody to help them work through it. Maybe they won't. But I don't want to be responsible for cutting somebody loose without having processed that stuff, because I've got a little bit of psych background in my life, and that was important to me. So that's why I work in a program model. So what ultimately made you decide to start working with me?
I don't remember exactly, because I've known you now for a while.
Yeah.
I just know that I think I had seen some of the things you had done. We had talked about things, and I really felt comfortable with you, and I felt that I could be totally honest with you, and that there was no judgment. And the more I got to work with you, the more I got to see your brilliance, because it's amazing to me how I felt like you would jump into my brain, and you would just start asking me questions, or you would just start pulling things out of me that needed to be pulled out that I didn't know how to do myself.
Yeah. Well, that's another aspect. I find I look at what somebody's given me, and I do anticipate what various readers might be wondering. What questions would they have? What kind of comments would they have? And I interview you, and I pull out what I think you mean to say, and then I give it back to you to make it your own, right?
Yes.
For anybody out there who's wondering, well, what's it like to work with this chick? What's it like to work with me, and what was your end result?
What is it like to work with you? For me, I have enjoyed the entire process. I look forward to talking to you. I feel like I want to talk to you every day, and not just about editing or writing. I feel like when you help somebody, you just don't edit. You do so much more, and you help build them, not just health-wise, writing-wise. You make me feel like I'm a better writer now, a better person, and you make me look at things in a different way. So that's kind of what I got out of working with you, and I'm looking forward to working with you more on the second book. And what was my aha moment? I had somebody come to me recently who had read my book, and the first comment out of their mouth was, it wasn't about my story, which is really unique in itself. And people need to read to see, like, oh, if you think you've got bad life, you
had a lot of stuff going on. It was crazy.
Yeah. But for me, when that person came to me, the first words were out of their mouth were, wow, that was really well written. That just made me, that was better than my entire story, because I really wanted to come across as a good writer, and I really wanted people to understand the depths of my pain and the emotions that I had being so sick. And you were able to give me that.
Awesome. I'm so glad. We had a lot of fun doing it, even on the days that were rough. And there were some days where you were very stressed. We did some processing to help you de-stress and breathe. And I was just really grateful to be able to be a part of that and help you through it. And it's something I've learned is a pure joy for me to do, to be able to work with somebody and bring their story forth. Even if they have just bare bones, I will do the interviewing and I will pull the information, and it's kind of like a little scavenger hunt. It's kind of fun. I want to let everybody know that you, as a result of publishing your book, and I helped you publish, you've won a couple of awards. You won your tuition back. You've gotten a 5-star review from an independent reviewer.
Yeah.
You've landed speaking gigs now because of this book.
Yes.
And you've been like nose in the book working on your master's degree. You've only recently got through that whole thing. Woo! But you're just going to set the world on fire now, because now you can set those books down. You've got it all done. And now you're really going to start getting out there. And I'm so proud of you. And now we're going to do the next book. And I'm looking forward to it. And thank you.
No, thank you, honestly, because I don't believe my book would have won top 10 best authors, which is the accomplishment is not just mine, it's yours as well, because I could not have honestly done it without you.
Cool.
So I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
That gives me tingles. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, is there anything else you want to tell the viewers today?
Hire Paula, please.
Oh, bless you. I did not pay her to say that.
No, she did not. But honestly, it was the best thing I have ever done. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to work with you. And as I say, I'm so excited because book number 2 is coming.
Yes.
And and we will be working through all of that. So I'm just grateful. And again, thank you.
Well, and there's going to be some scientific writing and some medical jargon, which I have experience in. I've gone through my nursing assistant training long ago and my psych tech training. So I have all that kind of experience too. So I won't be looking at it going, what the heck does this mean? I kind of know. So awesome. Thank you for taking some time to talk with me today. And we'll be posting this in a few places. And bless you.
Thank you again.
All righty. You have a good day.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.